got this Nintendo off of eBay and I'm super psyched to play some games. Oh my gosh. Alright, well let's see what games we got here. Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt. I mean, that's pretty much a requirement. Hazel Gerker's Copy of Anticipation. Skater Die. Ah! A mint condition Top Gun. Jack Nicklaus Golf. Oh! Deadly Towers. I hate this game. That's alright, that's alright. I've actually got some of my own games here that I've been holding on to for just this occasion. So let's get this thing hooked up and play some games. So I'm building a Nintendo collection. Somebody's got to support this economy, right? But actually, I already have a copy of Skater Die, 3 to be exact. But let's give this thing let's put this thing in and give it a try. Okay, nothing. Okay. I read something about this. If you get a game that doesn't work, what you need to do is you need to push the game all the way in, and then pull it slightly out, then push it down so that the spine here is just touching the lip. No, nothing for fun. Whatever. This game sucks anyway. All right. Let's try Super Mario Brothers. What is this? What is this? I just spent $45 on this junk. I swear to God, if this doesn't work. Oh my God! Just kidding.
Chances are, if you've ever played a Nintendo even once, you've seen the dreaded flash. Sometimes this can be fixed by resetting the game. Other times it's a matter of blowing, seating, resetting, and probably slamming the game in and out of the unit. And this could happen less than a year after the Nintendo originally came out. Now, 26 years later, the problem can be even worse, and I fear that some Nintendos are actually being thrown out due to this problem.
Stop throwing them out. It just drives up the price.
There is really just one problem with the control deck style Nintendo. Its design. Before the Nintendo Entertainment System control deck came out, most systems were designed like this. The cartridge slot on the top of this connects directly to the main system board, and the connection is tight. That's not to say that a game won't load up every once in a while, but they are far more reliable than the NES. Nintendo wanted to come up with a system that would look nice next to a stereo or a VCR. The idea was that Nintendo wasn't just for kids, and it could have a permanent home in the family room. To that end, they even went the extra mile and added composite AV jacks. Whether it was the right timing, the right games, or the right control deck design, something worked, as the Nintendo Entertainment System is still one of the highest sold consoles of all time. Unfortunately, that success for Nintendo came with a frustrating cost for us consumers. Let me demonstrate how this design works. Here is the 72-pin connector that makes the control deck possible. The bottom line of pins connects to Nintendo's system board, and the upper part is where the game is connected. Nintendo also wanted to avoid that crunching force that one would have to use with an older style game console. With a tape deck or a VCR, you lightly insert the tape and the machine does the rest. Nintendo tried to emulate that with a zero insertion force concept. What that means is it should take little effort to push the game pack into the console. In order to make a solid connection, that game would be pushed down and the connection is made. The problem is that pretty soon dust and other debris collects on the game's contacts and inside the ZIF socket. Furthermore, let's say you're on a marathon run of Zelda 2 and it's the only game you're playing. Chances are that game is going to stay in the Nintendo depressing those ZIF pins. I don't know about you, but it took me about a month to beat Zelda 2. All that time, the game is in your console, it is bending those pins out of shape. So what do? You could replace this 72-pin connector. I see them on eBay for $10 all the time. The problem is that the connector is so tight that pushing the game down into the deck will actually cause it not to play. You have to play with the game in the upright position. I'm getting ready to clean this system up and sell it. I don't want my ad to have disclaimers telling people not to use their Nintendo in the way that they think that they should use their Nintendo. I mean, look at this post.
I mean, the real issue here is, there's two issues, really. The first is the actual wear and tear in your game. I mean, listen to the noise this thing makes as I pull it out of the replacement 72-pin connector. Right? You hear that? That's a lot of wear and tear on the contacts of your game. The second thing is when it's actually in the console and you're using your fingers to pull it out, it actually kind of hurts your fingers to pull it out. So you can actually forget about those Tengen games and all those other unlicensed games. The actual wafers in there are slightly bigger, and so you're going to be running for the pliers just to get them out of your system.
You could also get one of these model NES 101 systems. Late in Nintendo's 8-bit days, they knew they had us hooked on Nintendo, so they didn't need to lure us with fancy control decks. I mean, look at this thing. It's just a little bit bigger than a single cartridge. And listen to that cartridge crunch. A solid connection every time. But their engineers must have been so busy with the Super Nintendo because, look, this thing's missing AV ports. It only has RF. Now that wouldn't be so bad, right? I mean, even 21st century televisions have a coax input. The problem is really the quality. Look at these vertical lines in the black. And listen to Super Mario Brothers. Yeah, they cheaped out on the audio and the video. So to me, this isn't really a good solution.
Now there are some mods that you can actually do on this unit to fix this little RF problem and actually give it proper AV inputs. Maybe one day we'll talk about those.
Finally, the option that I prefer is cleaning the 72-pin connector.
Alright, so let's take this sucker apart. First thing we do, let's get ourselves a nice clean working spot.
Let's get the tools we need. We need a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver bit. We need bit drivers. We'll also need cleaning supplies, such as isopropyl, a magic eraser, a sponge with a scouring pad, some 600 grit sandpaper, a paper towel or a lint-free rag, some cotton swabs, a small bowl, and a little flashlight. Let's get started. First, flip the unit over. All of the screws we are going to take out of the Nintendo are the same size except for 2, and I'll let you know where those are. You can remove these 5 screws with just about any type of Phillips screwdriver. This last one here requires a skinny screwdriver because the screw hole is slightly narrower. And look, they even included a handy tray for your screws. Now remove the top. Now that you have the top off, you can remove the 7 screws that hold the metal shield in place. This exposes the 72-pin connector and the cartridge loader. If you read anything online about replacing the 72-pin connector, then you'd expect this thing to be absolutely filthy. That's not the case, it actually looks just like new. So let's take the cartridge loader off. There are 6 screws here. The middle 2 screws here are longer than the other screws. You might want to set these aside. Once you have removed all the screws, gently work the cartridge loader away from the system board. It will feel like it's stuck, but it's just slightly wedged by the connector. We're not done yet. There are still 2 more screws near the AV ports and power that need to be removed. Take these out. Alright, now you can pull the 72-pin adapter off. It might feel stuck. The pins were designed to really grip the system board and maintain a solid connection. With that removed, we're ready to begin cleaning. Let's start with the connector on the system board. First, apply some isopropyl alcohol with a cotton swab and rub that back and forth. Next, gently scrub the connector with the magic eraser. Make sure to wipe up any residue. Now maybe this isn't entirely necessary, but since we're in here, we might as well clean this. Even though it has been enclosed, the Nintendo isn't airtight, and as you can see, I am getting some dirt off with my magic eraser. Now I'm going to clean off the backside. You are ready to clean the 72-pin connector. First, visually inspect the top portion where the games connect. If these pins are flat, you might want to bend them back into place. This can be done with a thumbtack or a sewing needle. Basically, you just want a little spring in the connector, but you don't want to bend them too much, otherwise the connection will be too tight. Now pour some alcohol into a bowl and dip the sponge into it. Lightly rub the scouring side against the connector, but be careful, the bottom pins aren't connected in the back and could be bent to the left or right. You could also use a toothbrush here. Now let's take your 600 grit sandpaper and put some alcohol on both sides. Put a business card in the sandpaper fold to give it some more thickness. Now push it in and pull it out. Once again, be careful, you can pull the pins out if you're too aggressive or go too fast. Do this a couple times and take your time as you do it. The idea is to only take apart your Nintendo when you have to. The more you take it apart and put it back together, the more chance you have of stripping out screw holes. Okay, now put the Nintendo back together, but don't screw anything in yet. You might need to fine-tune something. Alright, let's test.
But what about these games? These games have never started, and they're covered in stickers. Come back next time. I'm going to show you how to clean and detail these.